Hello, friends. Today I want to share with you how you can directly know yourself and directly know the reality of the self and what we call reality without resorting necessarily to science or philosophy. So, the first point to understand is that the only truly indisputable, directly verifiable thing is the existence of our own consciousness. Anything we experience, ourselves, the world, occurs within consciousness. We know we are conscious not through complex philosophical argumentation, but through direct subjective experience. It is a fundamental and self-evident reality. I hope you agree so far. So, the notions of a self as separate from a vast material world out there are ultimately inferred concepts. These distinctions arise from within consciousness, not from the fundamental nature of what is. When we see the dance of consciousness, what we see as the changing dynamic flow of our mental, bodily, and external world at its deepest level is simply consciousness modifying itself. There's no inherent division between subject and object. So the body and the world and the mind, changing body, and the world are actually inferred. They're inferred based on our perceptual activity, a human perceptual activity, which is a modification of consciousness. So how do our thoughts and emotions relate to our physical sensations and form? How do these in turn give rise to the seemingly substantial external world and the seemingly substantial physical body? Both are verbs, they're not nouns, they're changing perceptual and inferred activities in consciousness. When we do this, then we can address some challenging questions regarding free will and the persistence of personal identity that arise when consciousness is seen as the only reality. I hope you understand this. Free will and the nature of self. So I'll repeat. Let's see that there are challenging questions to science and philosophy right now. What is personal identity? Do we have free will? But see, all these can be addressed when we see consciousness as the only reality, as infinite creativity, as infinite self-regulation, as infinite correlation, as punctuated by discontinuity. So these perspectives actually are dependent on this one understanding. The only reality is this non-dual consciousness, which we can call consciousness. Now, there are many analogies to try to understand this. The screen is consciousness. What is appearing on the screen is the activity of the screen, the electrons and photons, etc. And also, you can think of waves on the ocean, which are constantly changing, while the ocean remains the bedrock of the existence of the waves. So meditation, mindfulness are designed to give us this reality. I am is modifying itself as the experience of the changing mind, the changing body, and the changing world. However, the changing mind and the changing body and the changing world are inferred because we have subjective experience, because consciousness is modifying itself as that which we call the changing mind and the changing body and the changing world. Remember only two things. Consciousness is a real, direct, verifiable, indisputable experience. We know we exist, and however we infer that existence. The fact that we have a mind is obvious, of course, because I'm speaking to you through the mind. But what the I am that is speaking is filtering these ideas through a conditioned mind, and that conditioning is even scientific and philosophical. But we don't have to go there. All we have to realize is direct experience is consciousness, and everything else is inferred. Mind, body, and the physical world are inferred from the changing activity of consciousness knowing itself as this and all this. And that knowing is a human knowing, not the knowing of another species, although every sentient being has modes of knowing and experience. That is the sanctity of existence, holy existence. Holy means all-encompassing, whole. That is the meaning of knowing ourselves. We are the totality of all that exists. In fact, at the source, we are the knowing and experience of all species and their projected worlds. And as we move into the future with AI and virtual reality, this will become very obvious, but we don't even need that. Just direct experience is all we need. Okay, thanks for listening, and I hope this helps, because that which knows that it knows is eternal, timeless, spaceless, irreducible, infinite, and unimaginable and incomprehensible. And without it, I couldn't even do this video for you or talk about these matters.